All right, guys, welcome to the stream. Let me test all my stuff. Testing, testing, testing. Looks like I got good audio. Let me do a voice test. YouTube.com.
Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to scrape Google data in under 10
Looks
minutes.
like we got good
now,
audio.
I'm sure you're here as you need
Thank
competitor
you,
data, keyword rankings,
Anya,
or product
for
information.
the intro. Let's use Chrome. Claude.ai. All right, I think we are almost set for live build. Got ChatGPT, got Claude, got the internet. Let's go pull Replit over here. All right, so today, guys, what I was thinking of doing is kind of doing a live test of various tools that I operate on a day-to-day basis. The goal is right now this is kind of like just like a play run through. I've been using what's on screen right now is my Replit profile, and what we're gonna do is I just want to showcase this tool. I think is between the three of these, it blows my mind the capabilities of where tech automation and where technology has gone very, very quickly and rapidly. So we have various tools open. I have ChatGPT and Claude for LLM access, and then we're going to utilize Replit's Agent 3 and to see if we can build out a tool. So before I started streaming, I was kind of brainstorming with ChatGPT. That's my favorite brainstorming LLM to bounce ideas. It has some weaknesses in some areas, but its key strengths, I think, is its integration of how they built the application, tools, and ease of use. So things like the advanced voice, the voice transcript, searching the web, the deep research, they were kind of the first ones to pull all those pieces together, and the other ones, the other developers and the other big companies that are developing models and stuff like that, they have more specialized tools that have different that might be better at something. So I've found like Claude's very really good for writing and stuff like that, and I use it heavily for code generation. So I get my idea going on ChatGPT just because I can integrate with it on my phone. It's just a lot easier and more streamlined for me to brainstorm and learn and educate via ChatGPT. And then when I need a specific job done, I jump to Claude to really build it out. And then we're going to see if we can get this going. So the idea I had jumping to ChatGPT is I'm a reseller on eBay, whatnot, and Poshmark. I've set up those operations to kind of sit on the back end. Those are kind of side hustle businesses that I pour a little bit of time in. And over the last couple months of me putting time in on developing those businesses, I've discovered like, hey, as a business owner, it's great when I can get free shit for me to resell. That is the most profitable thing for me to sell. I know. Who would have thunk if you get stuff for free that you can just name your price and no matter what, it's always a profit for you, versus trying to play this analytical flip game where I'm trying to find stuff for that might be of interest for resell that the market wants, and then seeing if I can get it at a discount price, and then trying to ask for a second. So I'm the middleman in that flip operation, taking it from one entity and converting it to another, and then just asking for 10, 15, 25, 40% sometimes. So that's harder to get profitable at that. I'm still working on how to get tools and software to be better at that, but that's a long game kind of process and needs a lot of testing and iterations. But for fun shits and giggles kind of thing today, I thought I'd just play around with tools today for a little bit, and you're going to learn along the journey. I don't know if this is going to work, but right now the idea that I have is, can I build an agent workflow or a software piece that can web scrape the internet for me to find free stuff that is in demand via the marketplace, and has value. So a lot what I'm thinking to tap into is, because the market is so big and all these ways of broadcasting and promoting and putting things on listing, it's so big and expansive, things can get lost in the weeds of where there might be a deal. Okay, so the goal is to have some kind of system that can intelligently filter through the noise to find deals, but also intelligently analyze the market demands as well. Okay, so it looks at market demands and trends and sees if there's options to buy that stuff for free. So that's what we're trying to build out. So right now, there's a lot of different core functions and pieces to that automation. So we're going to brainstorm the idea, and we're going to see if we can get it architect and built out via a blueprint with ChatGPT and Claude, and then see if we can pass that to Replit to build out. So that's the goal. All right, ChatGPT, where did we leave off at with the blueprinting and the program designing? Okay, so let's just do a very generalized blueprint build out. What the function of this program is hoping to achieve. So this is just going to be the basic foundation. We're not going to go into the weeds of the actual software components and the actual functions and character classes build out. What we want to do is kind of build out a very, very basic process workflow of what needs to happen. So I'm thinking, as a reseller for my store, what I would like to see is a program that can analyze market trends on popular platforms. I resell on eBay, Poshmark, and whatnot. It can kind of anticipate future or developing trends, okay, and can bring that into the processing, and then try to take those future or developing trends or current trends, and then try to see if there's options that are in the marketplace. Now, this is an automated tool, so we need to be able to access and integrate with the internet. So however functions in the internet we need to do. I would like any web scraping or API access calling to utilize all free API sources. I'm not going to ring up a large bill. my business has absolutely no money to utilize for this. Okay, that's why I'm trying to buy free stuff and get free stuff to resell. Okay, got it? So we're just going to work on the basic loop of the system. Okay, so figure out I'm thinking like a hourly loop system that kind of thinks through, looks at trends, looks at long-term trends, and then tries to find things in the parts of the internet. Now, when it comes to dealing with free stuff, you can have a lot of fakes and a lot of kind of scam like listings. So we need to also have a kind of like a proof of concept or a vetting process for making sure. Now we need to also be able to figure out how logistically we're going to get this stuff, or how we need to contact and notify to people. So it's a little bit of a complicated program. We might need to text people. We might need to, ideally it would just be simple where we could just hit click buy. So maybe we might just start there before building out those extra legs. Okay, so I'm just going over the information of the build out. The goal looks good. Hunt for free or near free inventory that matches those trends. Vet, rank, notify. Core inputs, look for trend signals. Supply signals, user settings. Hourly loop. Ugh. Okay, I've reviewed the documentation for like the basic build out. Can you give me a pass down report that I'm going to give to Claude to kind of more dynamically blueprint and for code based build out? Can you convert this all to a .txt document? Hey, Claude, we're going to build out a program For eBay reselling and Poshmark and stuff, I've had ChatGPT kind of do a basic architecture and a pass down documentation. I would like you to review the documentation for getting an idea of what we're building. And then what we're going to do is do a more detailed blueprint and kind of process design for the code. Okay. This process and automation does not necessarily need to have a fancy user interface for me. We can use other already free to utilize tools, the Google tool set or anything like that. So I can easily see it on my phone or my computer. It doesn't have to have a fancy process. We can run this on a terminal. But eventually having a nice little UI will be nice, but it doesn't have to function like that right now. All right, the .txt document I've provided in this next chat piece is the basic pass down documentation of kind of the basic idea what we're coming up with. For Craigslist geographics, I have no preference. It's really silly. I would like everything to get shipped to me. So I know this is a dream unicorn scenario. And you're asking for a lot. So we'll probably set this up so even when we're looking for stuff, these things need to be shippable essentially, so we can expand our reach essentially, but the program also needs to incorporate and try to analyze how expensive the shipping and handling is going to be for these items. So yeah, we're getting a discount on getting them for free, but for the overall cost of goods, the goal is to get the cost of goods price down, so we can expand our reach on Craigslist, but the seller needs to be willing and interested to ship it, and we need to be able to minimize shipping costs for this overall scheme. So again, this work that we're trying to work from zero and not work from expensive. While also increasing our ability to reach. So yeah, I mean, I like the idea of doing a regional search on Craigslist, but I don't want to be wasting my time. Part of this automation is to free up time I have to spend shopping, looking, and for processing and communications. And ideally, if we can free me up from not having to do a pickup as well, everything starts coming to me. Start sourcing stuff to me first versus me having to do the legwork. So that's the goal. I know it's a unicorn goal, but we're testing and we're seeing if we can do this. I realize I didn't answer all the questions. Any specific product categories you want to prioritize? Again, product categories for reselling will reflect the trend reflections. So the part of the programs that are analyzing market trends for the platforms that I resell on, okay, the programmer is going to sort through that and figure out. I don't have, right now I have my own particular niche that I work on and reselling that I'm okay at, but I'm just a flipper, so I have no qualms with what I sell. And then for the other questions, for simple UI, would you prefer a web interface or something like Google Sheets integrations? I would like a Google Sheets integration, honestly, to just minimize the web interfacing. Again, I don't really care about the UI. I'm more interested in the backend functionality of getting that on point. And so how I interact with it to source the information, I don't care. But ideally, I don't want to get lost in developing a UI and getting that up to work. I just want to use tools that are already in place, stuff that I already use, Google or web-based platforms that are already built out. Do I have preferred notification channels? What notification channels are you referring to? I have Discord. We can do Discord if necessary. I'm not quite sure what you're asking there. I'm a busy person, so I tend to not check certain platforms all that much. So I do monitor my email, but my primary email gets so much spam, I tend to ignore it. Text messages I'll process, but I don't want to be constantly bombarded with text messages. Ideally, a way of storing things just on a kind of like a running database storage, like just having a Google Sheet that I can vet when I have free time, and then it's not going to have any new notifications sent to me. It'll just keep running, and when I have time and convenience to look over, I can go there. But also the option and the ability to program direct to give instructions to might be important. So I'm not sure if Discord might be the better option. So I'll let you process and think through the needs of me as the human I need. Okay, so we're looking at a Google Sheets live updating database that keeps growing with opportunities, no notifications, just check when you have time, sort by flip score, filtered by date added, mark actions taken, updates every hour automatically, command interface, Discord bot optional, set notifications to off in Discord so it never pings you. Check when convenient, like checking a text thread, give instructions, increase weight for electronics, ignore items over $30 shipping, focus on West Coast listings, emergency alerts only, maybe for truly exceptional opportunities, blah, 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 blah. Test backup, ultra rare alerts, like once per week maximum, only an absolute unicorn found, user flow. Yeah, that user flow looks really good to me. Okay, so let's blueprint it out. Let's design how the command and automation structure is going to work. So if you can give me kind of like a line diagram of the kind of program's operational functions, that way we can overlook that to see what's going on. So there are going to be a lot of different strings and functions and calls and stuff and ways to interact to build this system out. Can we add in a after action processes as well? Okay, so you have the processes that search and analyze trends. Okay, and then we have the process that'll actually try to find the product. Okay, then we get stuff shipped to me. It gets resold or listed. Hopefully, cross your fingers, it gets resold. We need a after action process to track our own success rates. Okay, so we can learn and pivot and make adjustments. Okay, so that needs to be part of the processes as well. It's kind of a self-learning database as well. So that's what I'm thinking as well. And then that feeds into and starts the loop over again. Okay, so these were successful, these were not. What pivots? Okay, do we need to niche down on anything? Okay, what trends did we see that we did when we did a trend analysis? What trends did we not capitalize on? So there's a lot of different processes here. So let's try to see if we can build that into the flow as well. I resell on eBay, Poshmark, and whatnot. Okay, so part of the engine that is doing calculations of success tracking when we're looking for our free stuff, the engine needs to give recommendations on where this product might be the most successful at. So platforms like Poshmark, they have a lot of different stuff, but when you go to the feed, it's all primarily clothing. eBay is generalized with everything, and then Whatnot is growing, but at the current state, it has certain categories that are successful, right? So we can capitalize on gaps in the market on those platforms, but they need to be strategic as well and tactical. So we want to utilize strategic tactics. So making sure that we're capitalizing on trends, but also trying to push boundaries as well to trying to fill gaps in the marketplace where there might be an opportunity for growth and expansion that we can capitalize on. For me, this is always like the coolest part. This is like staring at the microwave while your food's cooking and you're like popcorn's popping. You're like, I'm not doing anything and it's doing itself. All right, so it looks like it's almost done. All right, so just finished up. So I'm going to do a blueprint overview. And then I'm going to see if Replit Agent can code it. So for this architecture, okay, there's a lot of different things going on. What is your suggestion on coding languages, frameworks, tools, the technology stack that ideally would be the best fit to get all this up and running? Okay, so I know it's a weird question to ask, right? So what tool stacks and processes would be the best fit to get everything up and running, right? We're not reinventing the wheel. We're not reinventing our own coding language. We're not reinventing any tool, right? We want to utilize the space that we're operating in. And, you know, this whole process isn't going to be one single long 2,000 line code set in one specific language. It's going to be several pieces of a puzzle. So give your recommendations, and then we're going to probably put this into a pass down report, so I can give this all to Replit Agent after this. All right, I've reviewed all the things that you've provided. This all looks great. Can you provide me the necessary documentations for pass down functions and build out for Replit Agent? So I'm looking for pass down documentation for what the core function of this automation and program is. the tech stacks that we're looking to utilize, the workflows, and then obviously give it the core primary workflow architecture that we're looking to build out. And I expect the agent will be in charge of coding it out itself and doing tests. So I'm excited. Let's get this to Replit. I'm sorry for any viewers right now. I'm not so delayed in my normal talking. So when I'm talking to someone, obviously right now to the camera, I'm a little bit quicker. But when it comes to agents, I'm kind of in the back of my mind. You could probably tell that I'm parsing and working through different thoughts and iterations and trying to figure out that I'm trying to get the most random and express what it is I'm thinking about. So sometimes it gets a little messy on what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get all the rough context, just get it out, even though it's kind of weird and awkward. So I hope it's not so cringe for the viewers. So for the users, right now we're building the full architecture, documentation. I think I'll probably just copy and paste this full thing in. But part of me just wants to give it in pieces as well. I'm not quite sure. We'll see what happens. Okay. Replit agent, I've given you a pass down documentation from Anthropic's Claude. So review the documentation. The goal is to see how well of a program I've thought through. So you're the third AI process to look this over, so feel free to give me any critiques over the documentation and everything. Let's see if we can get this up and running. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens, guys. So from the first couple tests that I ran through on various programs running Replit, I found that it can work for a while. So I should probably get something going so we have a little bit more interactive of a stream. Because this, I've found sometimes this agent, which is really cool, it can work for a while. So sometimes it'll just autonomously work for like 30 to 40 minutes. Just self-contained off on its own. So which is really nice about these tools, because when you're working with agents and LLMs and you're trying to think as a person, you're like, I thought this technology was supposed to replace me, replace my coworkers or what have you, but I'm always having to interact with it. It can get kind of tiresome and cumbersome. So having something that can just go off for 40 minutes by itself and you check up on it every once in a while, that's super awesome. So it just worked for a minute right now. It looks like it just finalized. Typically, the agent will kind of have a first chat with you. It'll kind of get an idea of what it is you want to build, and then it'll build it. It won't just straight run into it. Kind of similar to the deep researcher. Like, okay, this is what I'm understanding from you. I'll have a couple clarifying questions, and then I'm going to go do it. So that's what it's doing right now. Okay, so web scraping is a legal risk, so I don't want to do that. So I don't want to run into legal issues. So what would keep us in that legal framework? Yeah, for this whole program, I would like to keep it in a legal framework, but still utilize technology and tool sets that are free and available to utilize for this system. So that's the framework. So if we're running into legal and ethical issues, we want to completely scrub that from the process and figure out a smart and intelligent and legal safe way to go about it. All right, guys, I will be back in a second. You can go ahead and watch the processes as it develops. What I'm going to go do is go brew some coffee for me. I'm back. So let's see what's going on here. Looks like it's building out some programs. Let's see what we got so far. Okay, so here's our eight step the agent's working on right now. It's working on establishing a legal foundation for trusted sources, collect market trends from online sources, build systems for manual data entry, create scoring and recommendation engine, set of Google Sheets for tracking, build bot for system control, add learning to improve, and then test all parts of the system. All right. So while that is working, what do we want to do? Again, sometimes I get so kind of fixated on the automation processes. For me, it's fun to watch. So I get kind of lost and distracted with it. It's like, what's it doing? How's it doing that? What's it working on? Instead of just going off and doing my own thing, because it's so new, it's fascinating to me. So as it's working, I'm over analyzing and kind of reading through all its documentation that it's generated. I hate how my idea ran into this issue. 100% legal approach. Sorry, guys. I thought this was a clever little thing. All right, it's testing. Let's see. Hi, ChatGPT. How are you today?
Hey there, I'm doing great and ready to help out. Sounds like we've got a fun project going, so let's keep rolling with it. If you need anything else, just let me know.
We're just waiting on Replit Agent right now to code and test everything. It's kind of got through its entire build out process, and I realized it was kind of getting quiet during the stream right now for the build out. So I just wanted to kind of have a conversation for more entertainment purposes. So that's what we're doing right now as we're watching Replit Agent kind of work. So my question is, for those interested, tell me about how Replit Agent 3 works. What's it built for? What's its core purpose? And like, like right now I'm watching a self-sustained thinking system that's testing and reiterating and rewriting code and intelligently thinking through my requests. So what's all going in the back end and the front end and all the different system architecture?
Absolutely. Let's dive into that. So Replit Agent 3 is essentially an autonomous coding agent designed to help you build and iterate on projects pretty much like what you're doing right now. It's built to act a bit like a co-developer that not only might code, but also test it, fix bugs, and adapt based on what it learns about your requirements. And its core purpose and how it works, the idea is to automate a lot of the developer's workflow. The agent takes your high-level instructions and then uses a mix of pre-trained models and tools to actually generate code. It doesn't just stop at writing the code, though. It runs that code, checks if it works as intended, and if something breaks, it figures out how to fix it or improve it. Basically, it's like having a tireless junior developer who can learn and iterate very quickly. On the back end, it uses a combination of language models, kind of like me, but tuned for code, along with some automation scripts and test runners. It can simulate user interactions, run unit tests, and even do some lightweight debugging. On the front end, it's basically giving you feedback on what it's doing. So if it hits a snag, it can tell you and then try a different approach. The self-sustaining part, what you're seeing right now, is that self-sustaining loop. It's essentially an iterative process where the agent writes a chunk of code, tests it, sees if it meets the criteria, and if it doesn't, it tries another solution. This loop is basically what allows it to refine and adapt until it gets the result you're after. So in short, Agent 3 is built to be a kind of smart coding buddy that can handle a lot of the repetitive or tricky parts of building a project, leaving you free to focus on the creative direction. Pretty cool tool to have in your toolkit.
Cool. I'm just
Absolutely.
reviewing, see what happens. Let's see. It's working through some tests and giving me some documentation on how everything worked.
Sounds good. It's always interesting to see how the agent documents its own process and what it's tested out. If you have any questions about what it's doing or want to chat through any of those steps, just let me know. It's all part of the fun of watching it work.
Okay, so I'm just reviewing some stuff. It ran into some system processes with the APIs. Obviously, my Google's not configured, my Discord's not configured, and Reddit's not configured. So, got to figure out what's going on with those. But it looks like it did manage to find some trends. Oh, I unmuted you, ChatGPT. I was just talking about some issues with the program or what the agent's finding. So what it discovered so far is that there's configuration issues with Google Sheets, Discord, and Reddit configuration. And then it's giving me a analysis on the web, essentially the web scraping. It's done.
Got it. That makes sense. It sounds like the agent is basically flagging a few integration hiccups, like maybe some credentials or API keys not being fully set up yet for Google Sheets or Discord, and maybe some rate limiting or formatting quirks with Reddit. That's pretty normal early on. It's good that it's catching these issues now, and once you tweak those configurations, it should smooth out. If you need any tips on those integrations, just let me know.
All right. Option 4, let me see.
Sure thing. And if there's anything specific you want to dive into, like troubleshooting one of those configuration issues or just topping through what the agent found, just say the word. I'm here to help keep things rolling.
So I think I'm going to take a break right here for the stream. The reason is for full configuration, I have to go into my developer APIs and set those configurations up to run this program. And those keys are unique to me, so I'm not going to openly publish those for the internet, so for security purposes. So sorry guys, I'll have to finish out this build out a later date. So I hope this was somewhat entertaining for you guys. But as you can tell, we got a pretty good chunk completed. We have various Python files for configuration, database management completed. That was all relatively quick. Unfortunately, I have to configure my APIs on my side before we can kind of continue to test iterate. So sorry, that's going to be another stream until I can get the APIs resolved. So sorry, but I hope you guys enjoyed the kind of the workflow and everything I've been working on and got some education out of it. But ChatGPT, I'm closing out my stream because Replit, the part I'm at is dealing with API configurations, and due to security measures for protecting my keys and developer accesses, I'm closing out the stream, so that's not published on the internet. Do you have anything to say to any viewers of the stream right now?
Absolutely. To everyone who joined the stream, thanks so much for hanging out and following along. It's always a good call to protect those API keys and sensitive configs, so definitely a smart move. We got a lot done today, and there's more fun to come next time. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you all on the next stream.
Cool. Later, guys.
Take care.